staying about 3 blocks away.
It's now 6:30. I'd like to call this September 8th meeting of the City Council of Monessen to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Thomas.
Here.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Here.
Councilman Nestor.
Present.
Councilman Gregor.
Here.
Mayor Mosher.
Present. At this time, Pastor Holmes was unable to attend. I'd like to indulge our resident. Would you please lead us in prayer, Lois?
We bow our heads just for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we just once again just want to thank you for this day that you have made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for the opportunity to just come before your people, Lord, to do the work of the city. We pray for your guidance and direction, discernment to know what is thy good and acceptable, perfect will. We pray that you help us to continue moving the city forward, that you bless us in every aspect of this city, that we be blessed financially, economically, as a city as a whole, that the people may grow closer together. Our desire, Lord, is that your will be done, because we know as long as you're in the midst, that all will turn out well for the city. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask council to review the minutes from the August 25th meeting, and somebody make a motion to accept them.
Double agendas? Did anybody else get double agendas? I don't have the packet for the minutes.
Should be immediately following.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, I'm looking, sorry. That's my fault. I came late, that's
I had tonight's agenda on top, I already moved mine. I think, you're right.
Mayor, motion to accept council meetings of August 25th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Gregor.
Aye.
Councilman Nestor.
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to public comments on agenda items only. I'd like to stress that I've really worked very hard to run a very orderly and proper council. There will be no profanity allowed, but other than that, you're free to talk about agenda items.
Ernie Telegraphist, 29 Rex Boulevard. I got a bunch of questions here regarding these invoices. Like, the last time, we were told it was $116,000 for 8th Street. Is that different than what we've got here? The sewer system collapsed, and you said it was gonna be like $118, $119 a thousand to fix the sewers of 8th Street.
Right, it's actually more than that. It turns out that we authorized last time, I think it was $137,000
That
of our
much?
money. Yes,
And it's not on this
right.
agenda. Well, did you get 3 bids? Because,
Well, first off, it was an emergency thing, but secondly, no, and that project is still not gone anywhere yet. It will probably go out for bids. I think that we probably did not allocate enough money for it.
because a penny saved is a penny earned. And
Right.
I hope you guys know that,
Oh, absolutely.
because you're looking at other invoices. It ain't your fault, but all these are unforeseen. And I don't know how you guys gonna pay this.
Well, first off, that sewer project comes out of the line usage money. That's not the general
Okay,
fund.
but look at this other one, $80,000 to Monarch. I thought it was only 5,000. Is this something extra? The Ninth Street funds.
No, that's CDBG funds. That's
Okay, so
something,
it's their money then.
oh, it's been earmarked for CDBG, and this is just, it's already been approved. We're just going through the process again.
And that project did go out for bid.
Okay, then you got, what, 5 truck for 13,000? Is that what that is?
No, that's one of our big
International.
trucks.
And you still got the 5 truck. Did they take care of the 5 truck?
Yeah, the fire truck's been taken care of.
And that's paid?
That's paid
So how you gonna pay this one?
out of the general. Right.
You better check that one, it bounces. Okay, then you have another one here, 127,000, general funds, to pay all invoices. Can you just give me a nutshell, what invoices you talking about?
They're right in front of you. They're in the packet. They should.
They're over here, Ernie.
Citizens.
Bills are
Again,
over
over
there.
there.
Okay, well, I'm kinda limited today, but, can you just give me a rundown? Because there's also people that watch the YouTube, and they don't have access to the appendix.
It's online.
Yeah, it's online.
All of them got computers?
They're watching on YouTube, they should have something.
No, not really.
Unless it's on their phones.
They can watch video, but that doesn't mean they could,
We post the agenda on the Facebook as well.
I don't got Facebook. But anyway, I'm just concerned if you guys are gonna end up making ends meet.
Well, in fact, the end of the last meeting, we talked about that it is going to be very tight towards the end of the year. There are things that can come good for the city, art money, grants, various things that can help us out, DCED, TAN notes, and so forth. But at the burn rate that the city's been going through, it's going to be tough from about November on.
Well, the TAN note ain't gonna, if you do get it, it's not until January.
Well, you can get TAN notes whenever, but yes.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. And, one last question, did you hire somebody to do the bookkeeping for, that you need here?
We've got a person-
Did that person sign a union contract?
We're still working on that.
So the city didn't sign a union contract either then?
The contract has not been settled yet either.
When do you think that will be settled?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, do you think it will be settled before the year's over?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
Ernie, here's a pack.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pina, and I'm here to tell you, I'm not gonna go away, okay? As long as that flag flying, and I worked under that flag. I I don't want you ever to threaten me to throw me out of this meeting, because it ain't gonna happen. First of all, I apologize to the women and men if I cursed last month's meeting, but I can't help when a guy lies to you, I have no choice.
This is for
But
agenda items
let
only.
me finish, okay? You were the one that approached me there saying that you're gonna get the cop, the chief, to throw me out if I cursed. And I said, I'm glad you give me heads up. I'm not going away. I'll be here for the next 4 years.
Good.
Be a pain in your butt.
That's
but
fine.
you're still a liar. And you lied today, again. You signed the contract, and then you send out a letter saying that, hey, by the way, I'm gonna fight this. That's what you basically
You
said.
better read it.
That's what you basically said. So at the end of the day, you have done literally nothing for Monessen.
The
Other
one,
than just, preach about yourself,
okay.
about how good you're trying. But I'm telling you, man, I'm not going anywhere.
All right, that's fine. Thank
I
you.
fought under the flag, and I will fight you, because you were great to me.
Thank you. Again, this is for agenda items only. Is there anybody else with comments? Is there any correspondence?
No.
Solicitor, would you like to make your report?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Up first, the city is going to be required to obtain some easements for Phase 3, the USDA sewage project. There are 9 of them up in the Alberts Drive corridor and a couple along Knox and 10th Street. Letters have been sent out to the property owners asking them to sign those easements. We'll move forward with that. Also, the application for the tax forgiveness program has been completed. There'll be an agreement to go along with it. Tonight on the agenda, the city will be appointing their officials to the joint committee. The plan right now is for that joint committee to have an initial meeting, take a look at everything, see if we have to tweak the application and or the contract, and that program will be off and running. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you.
So Joey, about when do you think that'll be completed? Someone gave me a call today asking about that.
The application's actually at the very last
So they can
attachment.
actually come and get one now?
The application hasn't been accepted,
Okay, so
but
after
that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll just be that joint committee kicking off their initial meeting, appointing officers, and moving forward with that.
Okay, good.
Establishing future meetings. We don't have our, city treasurer. Jerry, would you like to give your report?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and City Council and citizens of Monessen. It's the treasurer's report for the month ending August of 2022. Garbage fees and city real estate taxes collected for the month. Garbage fees revenues, current, $2,810. Year to date, $321,346.51. Budgeted amount is $370,000. Delinquents, garbage. This month, $1,348.72. We received $11,323.91 from Portnoy. Year to date, delinquent, $72,108.51. We received from Portnoy $21,274.77. Budget amount, $120,000. The interest and penalties we received from Portnoy was $1,195.36. Garbage Housing Authority quarterly, nothing this quarter. August, year to date, $15,258.75. For a total budget amount for the year of $490,000. Garbage fees collected for 2023. August, $365. Year to date, $1,185. Budget amount, $147,834. City real estate tax revenue. City real estate tax current, August, $17,660.55. Year to date, $1,976,274.82. Budget amount for 2022, out of the general fund will receive $1,452,449. Debt service fund will receive $394,229. Parks will receive $199,052. The library fund will receive $42,135 for a total of $2,087,865. Delinquent city taxes. Prior years collected by the city, nothing this month. Year-to-date, $5,502.96. Budgeted amount, $9,000. Nothing collected from Port North this year so far. City taxes collected by Westmoreland County, nothing this month. The year-to-date, $117,277.56. Budgeted amount, $210,000. Total year-to-date taxes collected, $2,099,005.34. Distribution is as follows. As of May 31st, 2022, general fund will receive $1,311,975.76. Debt service fund received $356,101.47. Parks received $179,800.61. Library fund received $38,059.98 for a total of $1,885,937.82. Real estate transfer taxes. August, we received $10,006.95. Year-to-date, $74,212.80. Budget amount, $70,000. We're over the budget by $4,200. Earned income tax, August, $69,521.83. Year-to-date, $420,809.12. Budget amount, $600,000. Mercantile tax, $2,770.59. Year-to-date, $19,073.69. Budget amount, $29,000. Local service tax, August, $16,590.99. Year-to-date, $50,705.95. Budget amount is $75,000. Tax certifications, August, $800. Year-to-date, $17,630. Budget amount, $23,000. Municipal lien letters, August, $750. Year-to-date, $11,475. Budgeted amount, $16,000. Line usage account, August, we received nothing. Year-to-date, $12,780. Line usage fees, August, $64,098.71. Year-to-date, $552,122.72. Total for the year-to-date, $564,902.72. Mayor, that concludes my report for the month.
Mayor, motion to accept the treasurer report for garbage fees and city real estate taxes collected in the month of August 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? I've got one question. On the front page, you have Garbage Housing Authority, and there is a payment that you've received of $15,258.75.
Yes.
We need to find out where that came from because they do not pay the city. They have their own agreement with it for garbage collection.
That might be a typical error.
Or
Okay.
it might be from last year that they paid in January, February,
Okay,
or March.
and that's fine.
Because they still were in the agreement then.
Correct.
Under that, so that's
For,
probably where that payment comes
for last year they were, but January the 1st they were not.
Well, that's why it says under their budgeted zero.
Right.
But that's probably the payment for,
Must be for last year.
yeah. I
Okay.
can find out for sure, real quick.
Thank you. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. Our city controller is still absent. At this time, I would like to invite our city engineer to give us an update on all that we have going on with our sewer projects. I'm quite pleased that he's here today to explain it to us. I'm gonna turn this on too.
Good to see you, Tony.
Hi, guys. Where do you want to start? Three?
Yeah. Work our way around.
All right, Ned sends this report around, so for these, I'll regurgitate exactly what this says. For 3rd Street, 6th Street, 9th Street, 12th Street, Grand Boulevard, Perenni Boulevard. The pre-final contract documents and construction plans for Phase 3 A, B, and C were submitted to USDA for review and approval on August the 3rd. USDA advised that they'd have it on August 11th, that they hope to start their review around the beginning of September. We anticipate advertising this portion of the project in the fall and awarding it in January. Then he gets into the various permits and whatnot. Now, Phase 4 is the one that you guys see the pipe all over town for. They have crossed Moffett Street. Have 200 more feet to go up toward Highland Manor, and they have completed downhill to Parenti. This week, they're grouting manholes, the 3 manholes that they have installed. It's been a slow-going process, and I'm optimistic that the pace picks up. That summarizes the source, those sewer projects. I don't know if you guys want to go off on a tangent or not, but I'm here to answer any and all questions. Yes, sir.
With all these projects that you're working on, what's the total budget, $500,000?
$500,000 for what?
Well,
The
you said-
construction?
Yeah.
No, you're like,
Phase 4 is what, $2.2 million?
yeah, probably on
Wow.
23 million.
You said
somewhere.
9th Street, 6th Street, 8th Street, how about those?
No,
That's,
that's in Phase 3. That's the one that we're waiting on the USDA to come
We
through.
didn't get no money yet.
We got the money, we're just waiting on them to approve the plans and the permits are in place. We're dealing with layers of bureaucracy, they're bogged down. And, bless you.
But it's getting scary with all these projects happening.
Yeah.
The money ain't liquid.
well, let me just ask a couple questions here. First off, Phase 4 is the Pinvest project. That project encompasses the line that's coming down from, onto Parenti from from the
Well, from
Shawnee,
Moffett,
yeah, from the Moffett, from Shawnee area.
Delaware, from the island.
And that's gonna cross into the median of
Yeah.
the highway there, the 906.
Yeah, then it goes perpendicular to the.
And that'll, when do you think that'll happen? That'll happen next?
He told us that he, weather permitting, no more broken manholes or anything like that, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we will have that completed.
Well, he's gonna move 200 more feet of 48-inch pipe, and he's got some 24-inch pipe to put in. And that digging's a little suspect up there, as you guys know, it's an old landfill. There's a lot of glass that you softball people should know about those. So he's gotta top dress it and seed it, and mobilize down to Delaware.
Okay,
The pipes, from what I'm told, he made a deal with Ms. Heppel, and he's using her lot to store some pipe down there. And then he'll do 9th Street last. And I started to tell you before, the reason he's doing Delaware next is because he has an HOP permit that times out. So he's gotta get that crossing done.
okay. Once they get that done, the next one will be going to 9th Street.
Yeah.
And that will probably get started before it gets too cold, I hope?
I would hope October.
October, okay. And how long that project likely to last?
He's thinking to the end of the year.
That's one that will interrupt traffic on 9th Street.
Briefly, yes, the uphill, that's the one that's gonna require the EMT and the EMS, and everybody's gonna have to be notified when that happens, because what did we time that out, a 3-mile detour?
Mhm.
Coming up 3rd and Alberts to get up to that part of the hill. So I think what his intention is to dig during the day and then backfill and plate. and
Keep
open
traffic
up-
working
open
as
up
much as
at night.
possible.
Yeah, as much as possible. But he's gonna be into 906 down there.
Okay.
You see, those are 4 to 8 inch pipe. I mean, you have to be on the money with these things when you make your connections, so.
And just to clarify for Ernie, the Phase 3 project is a USDA project. That is a it's a $15 million project. If we're successful with the Phase 3 project, there is a grant that kicks in at the end of that for another $4.5 million, taking us right up to $20 million.
Is that tied in with phase 4?
That's Phase 3. Now, bear in mind, we're doing Phase 4 before we're doing Phase 3. Turns out that Phase 4 is required before you can do Phase 3, because you fix all of Phase 3 and have no place to get down to the place. Phase 4 is to build the pipelines to handle all the work we do on Phase 3.
You got money for phase 4?
Phase 3 has been fully funded by the USDA. We have a interim loan to cover that. That's in full, as he points out, he'll be going out for bid here sometime in the fall.
Optimistically, yes.
And that's really predicated on USDA approving the engineering plans and everything. They strongly monitor and control all that takes place in that project. They're probably more stringent than Pinvest.
The specifications are equivalent to 2 New York City phone books. You can do whatever you
When
want.
are they gonna quit digging that hillside of Brent? They can't dig that hillside up no more across.
They're
the
done.
road.
Yeah.
The hillside going up.
Well, the pipe's outside the ground, so we couldn't dig in there.
How high is that? It's gotta be pretty high.
Well, the original vault is still there, it's 40 feet deep.
Across from that big lot and that last lot.
Yeah, it's buried. That pipe across Shawnee Park was 40 foot deep.
Where that machine sit now, they gotta go up that hill more.
They're done, from what I heard. I've been playing with a bunch of other toys today.
It don't look like he's done.
That vault up there, it's just gonna stay there, they're not gonna
Oh, yeah, he's backfilling.
He's
They're
backfilling
grouting
it?
They're
They're
grouting.
grouting it?
They're grouting all pipe around those walls. So that's what they've been doing. That's why I've been leaving it open. And they
Cool.
gotta form the inverts inside. Those things just come flat, and you gotta pour the invert with concrete and direct water.
Why's
Yep.
that pipe on the outside? Ain't
That's-
something on the inside?
That's what the DEP wanted. Trust me, this has been scrutinized and
Did they
re-scrutinized.
get a plumber to inspect that?
Yeah,
Plumber put him on.
there's civil engineers inspecting it. What else do we wanna talk about? You wanna talk about 8th Street?
We do have let's talk about the 8th Street real quick, just so everybody understands what the challenges we have there.
Okay. Originally, when we started this, there was an open channel behind the steps. For a period of time, that pipe's been running with there's no cover on it. So a pipe ended, and then it did something else when it hit the steps sometimes, and then when it rained, it spilled over and flooded out. So our original contractor went and he was forced to undersize the pipe at the end. He had to take a 15-inch pipe and shove it into an 18-inch pipe, and then he flooded the joint with concrete, which sounds fantastic until you get a lot of rain and a lot of pressure on a cracked terracotta pipe. It now makes a waterfall as low as Rodney pointed out. So my biggest concern there is the steps and messing with the steps, and are they connected to the foundation of the gravity wall? So I looked at going to 6th Street. There's a manhole to 6th Street. It's a longer run, I knew that. It would be much shallower, I knew that. But we're gonna be pulling out a concrete lane and replacing it in some form or fashion. So, long story short, everything was fine. It looked like that was the way to go. It was the safest way. We don't have to hang excavators off a cliff. The problem is the manhole is 5 feet deep with two 12-inch storm drains coming into it, and we're gonna add an 18-inch combination line. So we went back and looked at the bank. The bank's 14 feet deep. Everything's good. The problem with it is you'd have to bench that entire trench the whole way down, so it would triple the excavation cost. So now we came back to the same location. We've got to remove the steps. We've got to move a telephone pole. We've got to get an HOP permit, and we've got to do erosion and sedimentation control. And we're gonna pull it out of the existing manhole by the benches, set a new manhole, and hit a straight shot down with new 18-inch PVC. Now, it's expensive, but I've stood here 24 times telling everybody, you don't want to dig these if you don't have to dig them. We had it teed up to be lined, would have been lined, designed, everything for less than $20,000. Now you're staring at a lot more than that.
Well, why wasn't it done in 20,000?
We're waiting on phase 3. It's in phase 3. Timing,
Should have been done many years ago,
yeah.
many years ago.
My point being is the only way to get away from these little surprises is to get ahead of it. And you know what that means. I don't have a crystal ball, but you gotta take advantage of what's given to you sometimes in life with poverty, interest rates, and the opportunity to line pipe. And a cap that's sitting on top of you telling you better get moving. So, anyway, I think I summarized that pretty well. It's still it's a very dangerous, little project there. We're thinking they're probably gonna have to chain an excavator off and hang him off the hill.
How
Because
long
we
is
don't
this
wanna,
gonna take, this whole thing?
that little piece there,
Yeah.
I'm figuring 2 weeks of construction time.
Is that all?
Well, it's all based off there's a lot of assumptions made. The cost of demoing the steps, what we're gonna find underneath those steps. The HOP permit, sounds like it could be a little more involved.
Tony,
than I
could
was
you,
trying.
could you explain what your HOP permit
It's
is?
a highway occupancy permit you gotta apply for from PennDOT. So, it's actually highway occupancy permit. So I'm saying permit twice. But anyway, you need to apply for these permits in order to get access to do
Exactly.
any kind of excavation on a street when you're a municipality. I took the approach, I was encouraged to approach them to let us treat this like it was a utility concern, whereby gas comes into town and they do what they want and pay a few shekels and do the proper, like they did with the gas valve here at 500 Donner. It was a mess, and then they come back, they cut it out, and they fix it, and
Right.
everything's copacetic through a PennDOT inspector. Problem is, that work's done under the emergency auspice, and although it's truly an emergency, and we all believe it to be so, the problem is you have to go through design, because this isn't a connection from manhole to manhole in someone's front yard. This is pretty serious stuff. You gotta go through design, you've gotta have a specification in place to protect the city. In other words, it takes time to get to where we're going, and then because of the cost, we've gotta put it out to bid. We can't just go say, hey, give us 3. I guess if you declared an emergency, you can do that. I'll be hard pressed to find 3. So, it's just, we kinda lose the integrity there of the word emergency, and it's a real hard sell. So, it's not cheap, and you're at their mercy. And erosion and sedimentation, we were able to get the Conservation District to let us incorporate that into the design drawings, which is a big savings, because otherwise you'd need a separate plan for that.
Just something that I'd like for council to think about, just the rough numbers that he and I have been working with. It looks like we underestimated the project the last time that we had our meeting. We authorized $137,000 to do this. Because of the permitting requirements and so forth, that is probably underestimated by about $44,000. That's not on the agenda today, but the next meeting we have, we probably need to
20. Figure 10 apiece for those plus the design, because that was the 137 number included construction.
Okay, well,
Construction,
great,
design, and inspection.
great. So half that, 20,000. We're gonna have to up it by about 20,000. So, and that comes out of the line use. And just so everybody understands too, the message I got from Todd Colley today was that these emergency projects that come up along the way, he's only willing to include those up to about $5,000, which means this is going to come out of our line usage money that we have, and probably will not be reimbursed. So we're going to have to make sure that we budgeted properly and all is looking well before we jump off that cliff.
They're looking at including it though, right? Not at all.
If we sit back, so on the 8th of last month, I talked to Todd Colley. He checked with things, and he said he will have the things going in 2 to 3 weeks. That was a month ago. and we still haven't got it going. Today, he said that he would let me know an update of what the timing was, but we still don't have it. The point being is, until he gives us the green light, Tony can't go out for bid, and that takes time too. Once we go out for bid, we find a contractor, then we could do it under the USDA project. Are we willing to allow sewage to come out on the street for this period of time when we have line usage money that's designed for that particular purpose?
But don't forget that you won't lose the $20 million. You could probably, I'm sure we'll have something else come up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't think the 20 million was ever said to fix every problem we got.
No, not by a long shot. But I will say this, the problems they will get a lot smaller. There are a couple more target areas that I'd like to hit, and there might be room to do it.
And they did indicate today that they would allow us, at least the way I interpreted the response was, they would allow us to direct where they started the project. In other words, we could go to our hot spots and fix them first before we went to the ones that weren't quite so seriously a problem.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, we have a pile of money in there to line the pipe from Ontario in front of Frank's garage. I don't know exactly how much is allocated to that. We can take that money and redirect that pipe back to the alley and get that sewage out of his way. It should be, I don't wanna say a wash, but it should be in range. The reason I don't wanna say a wash is because that's pretty deep. We gotta get underneath the forest main and then set another manhole and regulate minimum to get back into that alley.
Thank you. I really appreciate you
Anything
coming to
else,
talk to us.
You got-
Wanted to go over to
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
when-
Which project or which number would affect the area on Marion and Arlington? Anything?
Not in this phase, no.
Nothing?
No. That's it's a very, very long story.
I guess I'm stuck with that forever.
I'm well aware of, let's put it this way, the 2007 Mr. Rehab report revealed a very bad issue up in the Leeds corridor, both sides of the hill. A lot of that stuff you're not seeing because some of the streets are steep when it gets down to Leeds and because the streets are concrete. But it was in bad shape in 2007.
I remember being told that.
Yeah, so Leeds would be an area I'd like to approach it, and then there's another pipe that comes from the back of Montraver that goes behind Joseph's nursery that's always been waiting for a phone call on that for quite some time. But I mean, we had limited resources, and Todd's previous boss, Judy Tatino, her and I worked this out, and we decided to do the pipes that were bringing everything down rather than the pipes that come across and feed in. There are 2 or 3 reasons for that I don't want to get into, but that in the long run, that eliminates the $200,000 repairs. And we've seen 2 or 3 of those variations.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Cemetery Road up there where Woody lives, going to Woody's house, and going to Woody's house, are you ever gonna blacktop that road? We're gonna have holes in that road for the rest of the life.
That has nothing to do with the sewer.
I'm here, I'm at your service. Do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Park. The park, right?
I'm going to do that one.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Thank you, Tony.
Here. All the way over here.
You want-
So, the last council meeting, I guess we talked about the boat launch and some of the problems that we were having there. And we went through and did a couple things. First off, we did an inspection. Turns out that there's a total of 7 barges, I think that is. They're stacked one on top of the other. Some of them are submerged, some of them are not. This is the way that they're stacked. There's 3 high on some areas, 2 high on other areas. There's some that are turned one way, some turned another way. But there's a whole series of barges there. And this is another view where you can see it. If you look at this from the, down where the fishing dock is, you can see these barges pretty clearly. So the problem is, you look out on the raw water and you look at what the water's done to the barges, you can see that rust has eaten these barges up, and actually, there's major faults in the barges. What they were filled with and so forth is probably no longer, there. What you see is mostly sediment from the river, from the flooding that they've had over the years and so forth. And there's some more pictures here of just, how bad those barges really are. And this is one that you can see, there's a barge underwater and a barge on top, and it's just full of sediment. There's no, whatever they filled that barge with is no longer there. And there's just more pictures and more pictures of this. At the end of the trail where the kids used to go down and fish, you have this. That's the trail up the top of the screen. You walk onto this, you're walking onto the barge with holes in it, major holes. And something that as a kid I would have loved to death, a trap door with the stairs that goes down into the barge. Totally crazy. I can't believe that was there and nobody got hurt over the years. So what they've really done is they came up some recommendations, and one of which is they want to put something to keep people away from that area over the barges. We don't know if those barges are gonna fail today, tomorrow, next week, 10 years from now. We don't know, and nobody does know. But we do know that the barges are a big problem. So we want to keep people away from that area. And this is what they've done. It's hard to see. I should turn the lights off. But there is a fence that was installed. It's one of these orange plastic fences along there with no trespassing signs. And you can see they've closed off where you can't even get to the park benches that are on the other side up along the river right now. It is just deemed not safe. And that is the reason why we had to do that. The engineer's recommendation and for our personal liability that we have exposed here. There's another picture of the no trespassing sign and what the fence is. I'm not saying that if you want to get through it, you couldn't get through it, but I'm saying that it's marked, it's clearly identified. There's no trespassing, many signs along the way. So what do we gotta do? At some point, we need to start welding some plates on top of barge 7, cover up those holes where the trap door is and so forth. We've already reached out to the Coast Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers to see what we can learn from them, whether they have records of what happened in the past or what they can do to help us with what we've got going on now. We don't have any response from them yet. We need to develop a long-term plan, and that's gonna require some engineering of what we wanna do with that park and how we're gonna fix it. And most of all, we gotta find some way to fund this whole thing. Right now, the city doesn't have any money to invest, the kind of money that we'd be talking about here. And it's not gonna be insignificant funds. The other thing I wanna talk about was some of the things that I've been mentioned along the way is the county ARPA funds. This is the ARPA funds that the county has. This is money that the commissioners got together and said, we are going to do something for the county. And to that end, they pushed it off to a whole series of organizations, the Westmoreland County Department of Planning and Development, the Westmoreland County Redevelopment Authority and Land Bank, the Economic Growth Connection of Westmoreland. There is a lot of people involved in this project at the county level, long before we see anything at this level here. So what did they identify? They said, let me see if I can get rid of some lines so you guys can see this a little bit better. That help?
No, you had the light before.
But you
now.
have it marked.
Yeah, you had,
That one?
One more. That's
there you
it.
go.
Okay. So the county identified some 540 different properties that were blighted in the county. Turns out that Monessen's 284 of those properties, well over half of the properties that are blighted in this county that were identified as potential candidates for their use of this ARPA money are in Monessen itself. Just for people's information, Greensburg got about 32 blighted places, Arnold's got about 79, Jeanette 42, Pembroke 10, New Kensington 63, Vandergrift 22, and Monessen, king of all, 284. So just keep it all in perspective, the problem with blight in Westmoreland County, they recognized and they're gonna do something to help us here. It really is for Monessen. So, one of the icons, besides the $500 building, is the Fifth Street Hotel. I have it from Brian Lawrence in the email that he said that the bid date for this project will go out on September the 21st. That's real soon, very soon. He has promised that the demolition will start within the first week of October. Now, I'm gonna hold his feet to the fire. That's gotta happen. If he starts slipping, it just tells us what we're up against. What I really did is I said, okay, if Monessen is the first highest priority, let's identify an area that we can start in. And what I basically said is Donner to the north, Alberts to the south, bounded by 3rd and 6th Street on the east and west. So that forms just this block here that you can see there. In that property, there's about 170 blighted properties. A lot of them are right down here in downtown. Some of them are residences. It's a combination of both. Of those 170 properties, about 40 of them belong to either the city, the land bank, or the redevelopment authority. In other words, property that you can get a hold of real quick and do something with. That means there's about 150 of these properties that are not that way. These are properties that belong to somebody. They may belong to somebody that's long since deceased. It may be moved out of the country, impossible to find, but they, according to the records, they belong to somebody. It is up to the city, if the city wants these blighted, to clear these properties. We have to clear those properties just like we would with CDBG. We have to they will do the title search. For whatever reason we don't understand, the county has determined that they want to do the title search. That's fine. That's tedious work, they can do that. But as far as doing what our solicitor knows how to do with the CDBG funds, he notifies the people, he holds public hearings, he clears the property, and he can get demolition orders through that process. And that's what, City Act 90 or something, I don't know.
That's just under the local agency law. You have the ability, the city has the ability to summarily abate these properties. You just have to provide due process.
So anyway, that is where the first thing is. That is, he has agreed that countywide, they will take this as the first phase of their demolition project. That's a huge opportunity for us, but we've got to get through this in so much as how do we get them all cleared? How do we get them all going through the process? And that will take some time. So there's some immediate problems that everybody's aware of right now. This 123, 129 6th Street, just across the road right up over here, the old newspaper office, it started collapsing into the alley. And right now, the one leg is shaped like a U. One leg is, the roof is completely gone. It's in the basement. It's just a serious problem. That building's owned by Guy Simpson. He indicates that he will demolish the structure and build a new. And we're gonna encourage him to do that in every way that we can. By the same token, the city's gonna take strong enforcement action to keep him on track. Just gotta keep him moving. The other issue that's really come up that has hit me, and this is something unrelated to anything that I know how to handle right now, but it's something maybe we can manage. We have a whole series of concrete roads in this town. When this concrete gets old and starts getting cracks, water gets underneath it. When water gets underneath it, it starts eroding whatever this concrete is sitting on. There are some houses in this town that have on their driveway a void underneath the concrete of at least 2 or 3 feet. And what's holding this concrete up is probably the rebar that goes to the curb. It's just a problem. The most obvious solution is actually pretty simple. We cut a hole in the concrete, we fill it with concrete, we build it all up, and we replace this missing. The only concern that I have is when you do that, you've made it very difficult to work on the road from that point forward. If there's a problem with the water that's underneath that concrete, you're gonna be out there with jackhammers. If there's something, so we gotta make sure that we do this right, we do all the proper one calls and make sure that we're not building a problem. The other thing that really bothers me, on the one that I'm thinking of right offhand, I went there today, it's right across her driveway, and there's You know, it's a double car driveway, one on each side. You can see the holes. There's a crack in the concrete about 4 or 6 inches wide. You can catch a foot in there real easy. She's got kids, and she's really deathly afraid that the kids are gonna fall in it. It goes down a good 3 feet. And you look in there and you see nothing underneath this concrete road as far as you can see underneath it. The point with this is, where did it go? Where did all this debris go? And I really don't know the answer to this question. It just really scares me that you'd have this void underneath there and all the material is gone. Now, the engineer has indicated that in the past, the storm drains that were in the area got full of debris. So maybe this is just something that occurred years ago and we didn't understand what it was and didn't pay any attention. The fact that you kept digging your storm drains out with debris, you know, nobody seemed to ask where that debris came from. Well, maybe this is what it was. So I'm hopeful that that's what the answer to that question is. The 6th to 8th, we've already talked about this. That's the one we approved $137,000. I'm apparently wrong with this. It's really $20,000 more we need, not $44,000. So that's something that we'll probably put on the agenda next time to get that problem solved. The problem is what does the county redevelopment authority, i.e. Brian Lawrence, say the time frame is for this project? And about the only thing he really is advertising is they will obligate all their funds by 2028. They have to be fully spent by 2028. I'm sorry, that's 5 years from now, 5+ years from now. That's the reason why I went to him and pushed so hard. Start phase 1 in Monessen, show us that you really got some money, show us you're really gonna do something. Let's get it done fast. We'll do everything we can to clear that property and move forward with it. That's really all that I really wanted to say about that. If anybody's got any questions about that, I'll be happy to address them too.
Yeah, well, these are actually questions I'd like to ask Tony since he's sitting here, going back to the boat launch situation.
Thank you.
To rebuild that the way it is, Tony, what would be your just off the wall estimate? Yeah, to make it, the barges and stuff, fill them with concrete and stuff. Yeah, something like that.
I'm just real curious to see what the demolition is.
Okay, so basically that is really off the table.
I don't like to do that. I'd like to see what happens to that, the embankment behind it, because like, as you know, I mean, that river level goes up and it goes down. The day we did it, it was down. When it's up for a reason. There's a lot of water in it, it's moving real fast. With those holes in that barge, I don't know what was happening with that, what erosion took place against that hillside. But once you demolish them, it would be up to you guys to determine if you wanted to put in some type of a retaining wall or just go with the slope.
Yeah.
After the slope is that.
What would you estimate to remove the barges?
I asked our latest and greatest demolition guy I sent him over the structural report, and we discussed it for a few minutes, and he and I agreed probably first course of action is to reach out to the Corps of Engineers to see what they'll let us do. DEP would probably be involved. DEP, the same guy I dealt with over here, he's worried about river water, so he would be involved with the guys from DEP. He'd be involved with the Corps of Engineers. But I envision ultimately digging a trench behind the barge in the exact, like probably in the same location where that fence is. You'd probably have to dig a trench big enough to get an excavator in it and blow torch them apart or tear them apart as best you can from the land side. And hopefully get something out of the metal value to offset the
Are those barges scuttled because of lack of use, or what are they doing there in the first place?
Urban legend says to put them there to make an offloading place to bring garbage.
It was a loading dock.
They were put there deliberately.
Yeah, they were stacked up by a certain individual. I'm not sure if the facts are true or not, but he put it back in 1950 approximately. He built that as a place to unload and load his trucks and his barges that came in. It was a,
No wonder they're falling apart.
well, yeah, you know.
70 years.
Yeah, they're metal rust, and then once the water got in there, start tearing them apart.
If I had to hazard a guess, I don't know what the permits are gonna take, I don't know what they're gonna want, that's separate, but I'd say you're probably looking at least $250-ish.
$250,000.
At least.
Yeah.
And you got 7 barges, I don't know what degree, if they're in bad shape and you can pick them apart with a cloth.
Well, some of it'll come apart. When I was down on the river there, you could see.
They're probably gonna want some type of, like an erosion control feature installed in the river to maintain that anything that we cut stays
Yeah.
within a certain area, so.
But even if they took them out and they just tapered it back up,
I'd like to see what's there first, when you start putting in a gravity, you're not gonna do a gravity wall, you'd have to do a tieback or a retaining wall of some sort. And that's for someone above my pay grade to tell me if you wanna do that or not, but you gotta do the drilling. You gotta see if it's even feasible to do.
well, the bottom line I'm getting at here is that's gonna be extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And there's no getting around that. I saw on your solutions here about welding the plates. Do we have any idea when we're gonna get that taken care of?
Not yet.
Okay,
Right now,
'cause-
we have it locked, behind locked gates and no trespassing signs.
Well, that's fine and dandy. However, you know, you're looking at a 4-foot fence and you go right over it, and a temporary fence.
It's a public safety issue, assuming you're gonna have some fence jumpers.
Yeah.
So,
Is there any way possible too, we can just get those benches out of there as well? Just,
I'll be honest with you, if you go down there and you look at the situation,
yeah,
you can see around the trees where it's settling in.
yeah,
And if you look at one of the benches, it's already going in towards a tree like this. They can go in there and take it out.
they might get,
It might give while they're doing it,
yeah.
and it may not. Like the mayor said, it could be 5 minutes from now or 5 years from now. It's gonna go down. There's no question of that.
from what Bill told me, he's expecting it to fall like this.
And which is what apparently happening.
Yeah, it's gonna continue to fall like this.
Yeah,
So
if
when
you-
you see the condition of the barges that get water for maybe a couple of weeks a year, they're in bad shape, imagine the one that's never left for a long time. And I mean, I don't know what the Corps would make us do, maybe they'd let us leave those lower ones and just take them down on top of that. That's that off somewhere. But normally they're responsive, so.
Well, very good.
Well, that was my question.
You got something, Pina?
They put them there, they can be responsible for,
They,
but they're responsible for the river.
I would say under the permit, and that's what I think Mike reached out to. I would like to
Yep.
know what they know about it. Are they
Right.
tied together in some fashion, backfilled with, when were they placed, and how do we get rid of them? And that's something that I would appeal to them and apply it.
We heard anything from them yet?
Not, they're doing research on it and gonna get it back, gone probably tomorrow, so
Okay.
I'll let you
Very
know.
hard to estimate.
As soon as you can.
what the
Okay.
cost would be, but the only way to estimate is basically, you have, I don't know whether you guys are equipped to be able to work on the river or not. You have an engineering company to actually look at the job and estimate what it takes to get the things out of there first. And then what would need to get it not repair, but replaced, to make it solid and sound and solid. So you can go anywhere, my experience has been on that, if we get those some walls with the water, it could go for engineering itself, it could go into hundreds of thousands of dollars before you even touch it. So that job there, as of today, it could go as high as $5 million without any problem.
I'd appeal to the Corps to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what, I don't know.
That would be mine.
That
Mhm.
would be my way to do, I mean, it's in the waterway,
Mm-hmm.
they had to permit it, and now what?
Is it our property?
I don't wanna name names. But
Is it our
I
property?
assume when they did all the Hummer Mechanic upgrades to it, that they assumed liability, assumed ownership of it. I assumed it, I didn't even look at that.
No maps really show that
Well, it's not that the maps don't show it being our property. The map's showing it being in Rostraver, but it's still our property.
The barges are in Rostraver?
Yes.
The whole park is.
The whole park is.
Well, the pump station's in Roxbury, but I'm not sure about the park.
The property line runs right through the pavilion that's there.
Yep.
Let's just assume they're in the waterway and there's someone else's problem for now.
Well,
You would have to still hire an engineering company to go in and do the study on it.
absolutely,
Who owns it?
absolutely.
Where's that, and how to estimate it, and who, they'd be able to get people who are comfortable to do that type of job. It may not be, it may be, I don't know. You know, you guys-
Right now, until we get something back from the Corps of Engineers and the Coast Guard and so
Pretty much.
forth, I think that we don't do anything until other than just keep people out of that area.
And that's my next question. That fence that's up there temporary, that 4-foot plastic fence,
Yes.
how long do we expect to keep that the way it is without reinforcing it with a different?
Not long.
Okay, so when we would put something in, we would put what, like a 6-foot fence in through there?
We'll have to talk about it.
Well, at least a 6-foot fence to discourage the kids from going over it.
Yeah.
'Cause
We'll have
I'm
to
gonna
come up
tell
with
you
a
right
plan.
now, I went through there the other day, and they were jumping over the chain link fence already.
Well, that's,
So, it's a matter of time, and if we do that, replace that, we should go all the way over with 6-foot fence.
I don't disagree. Well, let's keep this moving.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to indulge somebody to, ask somebody to read some of these motions here.
I'd like to make a motion to provide a notice to proceed to Morning Excavation Services for completion of the completion of the 2022 CDBG 9th Street Park Improvement Project, MON 2022-06, in the amount of $80,496.50.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Monessen, number 10 of 2022, to authorize the submission of an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for funding through the Community Development Block Grant, as authorized under the Housing and Community Development Act, 42 USC 5301 and 24 CFR Part 570, and further certifying compliance with the requirements of the program.
Could I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve payment to El Grande Industries for work completed on a 2022 CDBG roadway rehabilitation project Phase 1, MON 2022-02, McKee Avenue and 4th Street, as recommended by WEC Inc., Consulting Engineers, in the amount of $128,160.
Could I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a handicap parking space for Christopher M. Palmer at 29 Washington Drive, Monessen, PA 15062.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like a motion to approve the celebration of Halloween and trick-or-treat activities in the city of Monessen from 6 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 29th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, just a comment, I still don't think that's a good time. It gets dark. Kids out in the street when it's dark, bad idea.
I agree.
Sooner or later, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Okay. Just a comment on that. I don't disagree with that, but One of the things that was, people approached me about very early on this year was that there's several different holidays that the city has that they celebrate. And to that end, they suggested that somebody that has a real love for a particular holiday ought to be put in charge of that holiday and direct all activity to that person. He would be the one that controls it and does it and whatnot. The Lisa Lyons at his place took on Christmas, and I would like to commend her because she has done an absolutely fantastic job. She's worked with the library and all the different churches and all the different people that are involved with it to put together a complete schedule for Christmas, and here it is in September. This has been done for some period of time already. That's the kind of thing that I think really ought to take place for trick or treat and any other holidays we support. The Midsummer 4th of July, I think, has been historically a mayor's thing, and that's the one that I want. And that's what one I want to do. Do you want to say anything else?
Well, no, you need to finish this.
Okay. Is there, we got a second on that?
We could
Yes.
go like that.
Yeah, wait a second.
Okay. Any other questions? And call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
No.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
I'd like a motion to form and appoint 3 members to the Tax Exoneration Board under the terms of the recently enacted ordinance number 1260, with 3 persons from the current administration employed by the city of Monessen or elected officials as outlined in the ordinance. Mayor Maura Moser for an initial 1-year term to the board. City Administrator Michael Korpach to initial term of 2 years to the board. And Code Officer Marvin Davis to initial 3-year term to the board.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions?
Does the mayor have to abstain?
Call the roll.
No, I have a question.
Okay.
We don't have any public opinion on this. I have a problem with that. I think one of those positions ought to be someone from the public.
The only concern that I would have is we're talking about tax exoneration, and they would have no stake in the exoneration of that tax. They would benefit from the exoneration of the tax.
Neither do the 3 people that you're opposing.
But we were elected by the general public to respect that tax and to take care of it.
Well, there's only one of them, would be you.
Elected or appointed.
Marvin would neither fall into neither of those.
Well,
categories.
he is part of the administration.
He's appointed as the code enforcement officer.
Yeah, I just think that,
And that was really required to get buy-in by the school.
but we're still not including the public in this,
The-
and I have a problem with that.
Okay.
I just don't think it's right, plus,
What do you mean, why would you include, why do you feel that we need to include the public in a tax exoneration? You think that they may say no, or yay, or?
well, they have a stake, they might have a stake in it, like, depending on where some of this is at, if it's
You want to address some of that?
up in a more blighted area, and someone may have a lot more of an opinion on something versus some of us that never even, unfortunately, even go up there or even just know of it. There's no, I don't like the idea of government telling people really what to do without them having a say.
Well,
And I could be wrong on this.
If
I'm not gonna say whether you're right or wrong, but I would say that these individuals here are going to be more cognizant of what's going on with these blighted properties than some individual. I mean, you may get someone like Mark Ballora, who's really into it, or I can think of some other people that would really get into it, but these people would be dealing with this stuff on a day-to-day basis.
And by the way, Mark has been appointed by the school to be on this board.
Yeah. And if
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Imagine that. That's a good thing.
If I can explain the rationale behind the joint committee, if everybody remembers the last iteration of this program, there were no checks and balances. The city didn't even reach out to the school district to see if they wanted to be a part of it. One of the mayor's primary tasks when he took office was to sit down with the school district to see if we can develop this good idea into a plan that can be administrated. They wanted to be involved in the initial decision from the application moving forward, and that's where the idea for the joint committee to have stakeholders from the school district as well as the city sitting on one board to process these applications, making the recommendations for tax exoneration to council and to the school board. That way, both entities have skin in the game. It's not just the city sending a letter to the school district saying, hey, they completed this application, they went through the process, please exonerate their taxes. They're gonna have individuals from their body as well making that recommendation to the school district. It's just the way that this could be processed efficiently, and it would take some onus away from the city administrator for doing it on his own. And with the code enforcement official being on there, he's gonna be the one inspecting these buildings. So he's gonna know which properties are coming in from day one with the application. And he's gonna be well versed in these properties. It's gonna make his job efficient as well, I believe.
And doesn't he have to make periodic checks to make sure they're proceeding along with the
Yep.
improvements and
Yep.
everything?
Yep.
And not to get sidetracked, we still need to take a vote on this, but the very last attachment to your packet is a copy of the tax forgiveness application. The contract is yet to be done, but you can see that the application itself is many pages, 7 pages, something. It's more than the entire contract was last time. So it's gonna be vastly different. There's many requirements before you can do this. Could we call the roll? Is there any more questions?
Did we have a second?
Yeah.
We had a second, yes.
Yes, we did.
Could this be possibly amended or changed to state just the positions and not people?
No, this is, the purpose of this meeting is to appoint people so we can get this underway.
You're worried that if one of these individuals would leave service for the city, they would still be on the tax exoneration board.
What I'm worried about, and I know I'm gonna put my head in a noose for saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyways, is, and it's no disrespect to anybody, Mike is still an interim city administrator. Mike is in the position as a contract. This is extending something out for 2 years that we don't know if it's going to be there. That's where I'm having a problem.
Then you would replace him because of.
He would no longer be qualified, I would
He'd be
think.
he
Yeah,
would be
that's-
part of it.
If that's the way it's gonna go,
Well, if any of these people leave, and I don't want nothing happening, but he walks out the door, gets run over by a Mack truck, we'll have to replace him.
Yeah, that's correct, because the ordinance specifically reads they have to be elected or appointed officials from the school district and from the city. So if Marvin, Mike, or Ron were to leave their position, they would no longer be qualified for that position, because they're no longer an appointed or elected official.
all right.
Ready?
I am.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution to amend the city fee schedule for a simple subdivision fee for 1 to 3 lots in an amount of $250.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Then we do the next $3.
We pretty much did, yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much did the next ones. I would like to point out that we did not do E, which was a payment for Hill International. That motion was tabled.
I, J, and K we already did, correct?
You ready to go on the agenda?
Yeah, if
Could be a
it's,
respectful table.
if it's tabled, you need to make mention of it with the formal motion.
Okay. Motion to approve payment to Hill International for a payment of or repair and inspection of International Truck Number 6 in the total amount of $13,485.71. A down payment of $6,742.85 will be due upon approval of this evening to order parts and initiate repairs. The remaining balance will be paid upon satisfactory completion of the repairs and inspection process in the amount of $6,742.85.
And that's a motion to table E, correct?
That's the motion to table that motion, yes.
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Gregor.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. I, J, K, and L, I pretty much,
IJK, we don't
Yeah.
believe we discussed.
did you put a copy of that letter in here?
I did not.
Okay. It's been reiterated many times that I refuse to sign the intergovernmental agreement between Bell Vernon and Monessen that had to do with the Refuge Authority. And to that end, I was primarily because I did not feel that they represented the city properly when they went out for contract, and nor were we properly notified of the terms of it when they did. The point being is, because we didn't know exactly how things were going, the solicitor and myself went out of our way to meet with Mike, and I can't even say his last name, Linsiowski. Anyway, the two of the three owners of the county hauling / Noble Environmental owns county hauling. They are the three individuals that bought the dump. They're the three individuals that run county hauling. And we talked to them at great length and decided that, yeah, this is a good agreement between them and the authority. We will continue to pay those payments. We have no issue with that whatsoever. And in fact, we reassured them that if we decided to abolish the authority, we would be liable for all their assets and liabilities, contracts and whatever. So we would be stuck with the contract in any event, which we had no problem with either. Anyway, the point being is the reason why I didn't sign was not because of the garbage company that we were dealing with or the contract that was reached. It was simply the authority I was having trouble with. So hence, I went ahead and signed the agreement, sent it to them with that explanation. And anybody wants to talk about that can talk about it at the end of the meeting. At the end of the meeting. Councilman Tony Orchakowski.
Mayor, before we do that, there's something I would add on to number F. And that is, as the mayor mentioned about getting individuals to do specific holidays or events in the city, I'd like to tell everybody that contacted somebody. I don't want to say who yet until we actually get 100% okay, but we plan on bringing back the Halloween parade. That didn't happen last year. Preliminarily, right now, it looks like it's going to be October 20th. There'll be more information, or at least I'll have more information at the next council meeting, once this individual gets back to me and agrees to take on the responsibility. But we're looking for that to happen again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now what I have to do. Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $127,129.86. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the recreational account in the amount of $111.68. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment B.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Fund in the amount of $2,273.46. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment C.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the grant fund in the amount of $5,782.10. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment D.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Balances in the city accounts, fire escrow, $18,410.99. Payroll, $6,042.91. Line usage, $619,977.71. Healthcare is $5,007.72. ARP American Rescue money is $39,217.81. Grant fund has $53,738.42. Debt service has $598,854,037. Parks fund has $79,609.39. Liquid fuels has $248.84. Recreation board has $3,561.55. And the general fund has a balance of $771,354.99. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lois Thomas, would you like to give us your report?
Good evening, everyone. I will hold off to making that report for the streets and public improvement at our next meeting on the 22nd, along with the library report.
Thank you. Councilman John Nestor.
Thank you, Mayor. I will yield my report until the following meeting. I greatly appreciate it, and hope everyone has a wonderful night.
Thank you. Well, Councilman Gregor, would you like to give us your report?
At this time, no, I have no report.
Makes it easy. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment on any item you'd like.
This is good.
I signed the intergovernmental agreement. Right.
Did you give them a copy of the letter that you sent?
I did. I sent that to everybody in council. Yes, I did.
So what the letter says as far as the public goes? What are you trying to say to the public?
I wasn't trying, I was saying the authority has no meaning to me whatsoever.
So then, why would you call me on January the 11th, 2022, that you had such a big challenge to do in that authority?
And I was hopeful that we would have something to do with the authority.
So what happens is that you actually had no intentions.
At
of
that time,
signing
that
it,
was not the way it
and
was.
after you sign it, you still have no intentions of being there.
You were still represented there by yourself, Ted Harhai, and I think we need to replace one person.
Yeah, I told you that about 5 months ago. You
I understand.
haven't done it yet.
No, we haven't, till last
So
week.
Let me ask you, sir, what is that you plan on doing? Because if you plan to do, where would the authority say so?
I plan on, in 3 years from now, when this contract runs out, that we will evaluate whether we want to go out and do our own contract as part of or we want to participate with Bell Vernon.
So you
Has nothing to do with the authority.
Okay, so you basically are thinking that the authority could be dissolved just by making a motion on the floor, right?
No.
There's a process that the city can follow.
There's a big legal process to be on site, and there's a cost to that process to boot.
Oh.
I mean, attorneys will always tell you, don't worry, we got you covered. But there's attorneys on the other side, just as well, that say, come on.
To be
But I
honest,
mean,
the-
I don't get it.
to be honest, the city wouldn't necessarily have to dissolve the authority in 3 years. They just don't re-enter the agreement with the authority.
So what's that mean in English?
That means they would go out to bid for their own garbage contract.
So you would have an authority that has nothing to do with the city.
That's right.
That's an
Basically
option.
it? So what would you appoint people in the authority? That's my question to you. And you say you're being transparent? I don't think you are.
That decision hasn't been made yet. I think the
Pardon?
mayor just explained that.
But what?
That he's going to
Evaluate it.
push to evaluate
It
it.
took you guys 8 months to sign the agreement, and it took you 5 minutes after you signed it to destroy it because you sent the girl a letter basically saying, we're gonna be looking at this, every here and there and see what we're gonna do with it. And then you guys telling me you're transparent? You're not being transparent.
I disagree.
Well, you can disagree.
That's the
'cause you're
definition
attorney.
of-
I can disagree with you just as well.
That's the definition of transparent, is when you make these public.
Public, it took you 8 months to say what you're gonna say.
There-
And if you guys received that letter that he wrote, this, Jesus Christ, 12 years old could have wrote that.
There were issues with the process.
Huh?
There were issues with the process of the contract at the beginning, legitimate issues.
What was the issue? Tell the people.
There were no terms of what the city was paying in that contract.
What are they?
Good question, because when it was sent to the city, it didn't
So
say,
why would you sign it then?
because we got that resolved.
What was the problem? That's my question.
There was a problem initially.
What was the problem?
There were no terms of what the city was paying in the
So you
contract.
saw that.
And then
What
we
is the
signed,
term
and
now?
Mm.
then we signed the contract.
What the bid price was. It
What
wasn't
is the
included in
term
the
now?
contract. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it wasn't included in the contract. There was a question whether the contract initially was valid or binding, because there wasn't an important term in there. How much the city was paying the authority.
So how much the city does pay the authority?
We'd have to look at the contract.
Well,
About $47,000 a year.
I mean, he
A
writes the
month,
check.
a month.
How much?
It's approximately $47,000 a month
Question for the solicitor.
$27,000 for how long?
per month.
Pino,
The authority, okay.
Pino, can I have the floor for a second? You said that there was nothing in there.
There was no terms of what the city was paying the reference
When I
authority.
when I received the copy of that, there were terms in there.
When did you receive the copy?
December.
The one that we saw in January did not have terms in it.
What's the discrepancy here?
I have no idea. The one I looked at, day one in January, didn't have
I'm
the price
hoping
terms.
that I saved that, because I've been pitching a lot. of
Well, you know, one thing, they could have signed this contract long before I took office too, and it had never been an issue.
I mean, I'm not making it up. That was.
No,
it was-
I'm not
it was
saying
a-
you are, Joe.
We had to
I'm-
get an addendum through their solicitor.
I'm just like, when I was quite taken aback when you said there was no terms, because the one that I read had terms.
There was a letter, I believe, with the price for each year, 22, 23, and 24, but it was not in the contract itself.
The contract, if you remember, and Lois, you remember in November and December, and we were talking about it, it had nothing filled in, not a thing. It just had the signature of the mayor, and that was it. There was no there was no payment, there was nothing of that nature of knowing what we were paying. Because I know we complained about it. It was blank. That's why we were bitching about it.
I'd like to see if I can locate mine, because I'm telling you, I'm sitting here right here telling you, and there were terms in there. And I do remember also for the letter,
Was it the contract or just the letter?
it was both. And maybe
The letter was.
there was just some screw up.
And I mean,
somewhere.
Why
it
didn't he
was.
sign the contract and save me the problem?
The authority sent.
You need to have people show up to have the meetings.
Just saying.
I'm just saying.
So,
That November, December were not the finest examples of some of our former.
so basically what you're saying is that now you know what it is, the difference, but you still signed it. And now what you're telling me, that $27,000 that you guys paying, when you say you guys cost Monessen $27,000?
47.
What is it?
47,
$47,000 every
Per
month
month.
that goes to the authority,
right,
which the authority only has one pay employee,
okay?
okay? And one hire attorney. That's it. So you're telling me that that's what they have? Have you approached them at all with that question?
With
'Cause
what
the last
question?
time I seen you come there, it was like sort of you didn't talk to any of the guys that belong to the Monessen side or to the Val Vernon side. You made some comments and walked out and people laughed. So I'm saying to you, are you gonna approach the board and tell them what you're telling us tonight?
Oh, I think
That's the only
they're,
way to solve it.
I think they're gonna be aware. It just went out over the
You
video.
know, I got a letter, I got an email.
I put a
this
letter
morning.
to, the letter I copied everybody on.
I got an email this morning saying that they couldn't, one person, the secretary basically said that she got a letter from you and you got the thing signed, but they couldn't get why you wrote the letter.
We don't
But
have
the
a
letter
copy of that
basically
letter.
saying.
You do, I sent a copy.
I know, but we don't have a copy here. We got
No,
it
Basically,
public.
the letter basically saying, hi, you guys, I'm on board now, I signed it, but I could be off the board anytime you want to. And the attorney is telling you, yeah, you could do that, and the other attorney telling us, no, they can't do that. So
Now
means-
that I've signed the agreement, I'm into it for 3 years. That's all there is. The city's into it for 3 years. That is the term of the contract that the authority has with County Hauling. So the city is fully committed to living through that 3-year period. What I'm saying is 3 years from now, we need to sit down and we need to discuss, what are the garbage requirements for the city? What do we need? Why did we not take into account the businesses in that last agreement? We need to take those into account. We need to make sure that we've accounted for all these different things. If they want to do that and they do it properly, I've got no problem with it. But if they don't, we will do it on our own.
You know, somehow I lose it, because, you know, I see the red, white, and blue flag behind you, and I don't see no Russian flag flying behind there that you could become a dictator.
I'm not a dictator.
Because you appoint people to do a job, and then you go behind their back and try to change or redo whatever you're trying to do.
I've given you 2.5 years of warning of what I'm going to do. There you be. How much more transparent do I need to
But
be?
if you did 2.5 years, what the hell are you appointing me for?
To hopefully
You know, especially
represent.
when you say
Okay,
on
well,
January 1st.
your 3 minutes is up.
2022, you say.
You made your point.
I got a rule challenge for you.
You made your
That's
point.
because the Three Stooges told you what to say.
You made your point.
And you listened to the Three Stooges. And it's a shame, because I voted for you. I didn't vote for the Three Stooges.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Thank you.
They're nice people.
You'd have to ask him.
Okay.
Nancy Horvath, 1417 Arlington. You're mentioning the garbage. The last time I put out my recycling and they didn't take it. Now, I wasn't here to do the next time. It's due tomorrow to be picked up. And it will be out there. Now, whether they pick it up, I don't know if they will. I don't understand why they didn't.
Nancy, do you have their
This
phone number?
I
If
did,
if they miss it, call them. They'll come get it.
I know.
Is it?
But I'll call in the morning, Nancy.
You
if
talking about
we-
this week, Nancy?
It's due tomorrow.
Right.
But don't forget, there was a holiday, so there's gonna be.
Oh, it'll be a day late.
It's
Okay.
all pushed back. They didn't pick our garbage up today either.
Okay, well, they shouldn't have. We're a day late.
We're a
Yeah.
day late.
Yeah. Okay, this week, I should have said that.
Okay.
But I'm hoping they'll pick it up. But if they don't.
If they don't, please call us. We'll make sure they do.
Address again,
I
Nancy?
don't know why they wouldn't, that's all.
Nancy, your address again, just, I'll call in the morning, like, as we did the last
Yeah,
time.
it worked.
Yeah,
It
okay.
worked.
What, the address of?
Pardon?
What's your
street
address, Nancy?
1417
Four-
Arlington.
Okay. I'll do it in the morning again.
Overflowing now.
Okay. That's something the authority should handle.
That it? Mayor, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:02 p.m.
I have one comment, and this is bugging me, because I just saw the chief of police stand up and start walking over here when this man was talking, when Pino was talking. Him and I don't always see eye to eye, but I do recall at multiple meetings where you, Mr. Moser, were up there longer than 3 minutes. You were up there 20 minutes, half an hour and stuff, and no one shut you down.
That's right.
So now that you're mayor, you're gonna shut him down.
Well, they're not gonna shut me down.
I got, no. It bothered me when I saw him tell the chief of police, and the chief got up and started walking over.
I
That's
will-
his boss, he has to listen.
I will allow anybody to talk as long as they're not repeating themselves over and over again. And that's what that was getting to be.
In your opinion,
In my opinion, it was being
And
repeated.
again, I remember you repeating things multiple
You
meetings.
should have shut me down.
Now, this is what, he's absolutely correct. That's dictatorship. When you're gonna start shutting people down from talking, when it wasn't done to you.
I wasn't successful. I didn't shut him down.
That was just wrong, Ron.
Okay.
That's just wrong.
One more time, so you know exactly where I'm coming from. I'm Italian born. Not second generation, I'm Italian born. And I took citizenship, which I had to take. But before I became a citizen, I got drafted. I don't know if you did or not. And you're gonna tell me, or you're gonna threaten me coming in here that you're gonna shut me off. I got news for you, man. I took bigger guys than you. To me, you are nothing more than trash.
Okay.
That's not called for.
Mayor, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:04 PM.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Oh, that was
This is not
strong.
gonna end.